Okay, so yesterday we started our background information on the story, The Miracle Worker. And it involves two main characters, one being Anne Sullivan, who is our teacher of Miss Helen Keller. Now we know Helen is deaf, blind. She's three things. She's deaf, blind, and mute. All three things that you would think wouldn't help someone to learn, but she actually overcomes this. Now, there's something also about Anne Sullivan that we learned as a young girl, that she contracted trachoma, which led to blindness. But lucky for her, she wasn't fully blind, and she gained some of her sight, but she wasn't totally blind. So, because of Anne Sullivan's upbringing, remember, she was very poor. She had a father who drank excessively. Her mother died when she was younger. So she was left with her and her brother Jimmy, and they went into this boarded mentally ill facility. And from there, she actually lived with people that didn't have very functioning lives. But here she kind of learned her techniques of how to teach people. She empathized with them, and she learned how to teach these people that didn't have all the necessary needs that everyone thought they needed to have in order to learn full functioning. So she actually attended, like we knew, Perkins. It's called Perkins Institute, well, Perkins School. And this is the Institution for the Blind. Now, remember, Anne was very bright, and she actually learned from 14 to 20 what most people learn from like kindergarten to high school. So within 6 years, she learned everything she needed to learn, and she graduated as class valedictorian, which is high honors, the highest in her class. So for her, that was the highest of honors that she could gain, highest of any honors anyone could gain. And she gave her class graduation speech. So remember, she came from the north. And where did Helen live? She lived in the south. And her parents, Helen's parents, came from a rich background. Helen lived on this grand estate. She had an older brother, half older brother named James, which is funny because Anne had a brother named Jimmy. And Helen was almost like the spoiled brat. No one thought they could reach her or teach her, but Anne came in to be known as this great American teacher, and she gave a career to make Helen Keller great. And in return, Anne lived with Helen and her family. So in a sense, Helen is giving Anne this family feeling that she never got to have. So we have some background knowledge about Anne and Helen and how these two are going to work it out. Now, remember, Helen is much younger than Anne. Anne's about 24, 25, and in our book, Helen's about 6. So as we go through it, Anne is being Helen's teacher through this whole thing. And remember, Helen has no learning experience, no Braille, no sign language, nothing. She's deaf, blind, mute. She can't see, she can't hear, and she can't talk. So here's Anne, who's also has an impairment, not totally blind, but somewhat, trying to also teach a deaf, blind, mute child that has no educational background. So that was our background knowledge from yesterday, just trying to refresh your memory before we actually now delve into the play, The Miracle Worker.